Hello, 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 beautiful listeners. I am, as always, super excited as I have found through a friend of mine a new person to interview. And the name of this person is John Reid, and he is over 90 years old and has had a beautiful life. And he is still full of beans and just so necessarily needed on this podcast, because I am absolutely convinced that he will give people a big smile on their faces. He's a beautiful, beautiful soul. So I think without further ado, he's from Great Britain. He was born in England, but then went and lived in East Africa, and then he went to the Netherlands of all places, and then to South Africa, and that is where he's living at the moment. So without further ado, let's get him in. Here is John Reid. So welcome to Please Positivity Podcast. It's quite a mouthful. Can you please introduce yourself a little bit to the audience so that they know who John Reid is and why he is this positive person at 90 years old?
Well, my name is David John Reid, to give it its full name. I'm positive because I think I'm a lucky person. I was born 90 years ago plus, as you know, and I think I've been lucky just about my whole life. And I put as much as I could of this in a book I wrote, and whoever's listening to this, you better buy that book. You better buy that book. It's a book entitled 90 Not Out, and it's my life, what I've done, what I haven't done, and maybe what I should have done, because I was given every opportunity to do something worthwhile. Didn't do it until maybe writing a book. Maybe that will help. I don't know. Help someone who might be a bit negative. I don't know. I hope so, at any rate.
Well, I've not read your book as yet because we've only recently met, but you were recommended to me by a friend of a friend. And I thought it was absolutely lovely when I had my little chat with you. So 19 Not Out, what a title. I think it's absolutely fabulous. Now, I understand that, of course, your life has been, what is the book about?
The book is about me, about my life, about where I've been, and was recommended by a man who has written, I think, 11 books. And we got to know each other when we were in our late teens at school together at Blundell School in the West Country of England. And his name is Christopher Ondarci. And to give him his full title, he is Sir Christopher Ondarci, now having been honored by the Queen, I think in 2003. And he was the inspiration that I got to write a book. He heard my story and he encouraged me all along the line. And at the end, he said, "John, you've written a good book," which was extremely nice of him, because if he's written 11 books, he should know something about it.
Well, absolutely. I would have thought so. And to write a book, because I believe you started writing when you were about 87 and a half.
That is correct.
I think that is so fabulous. I don't know many people, but I don't know anyone who writes a book at 87 and a half. So can I ask you, John, what has been the best mistake you ever made that became something really fantastically advantageous? Or
Well, I don't know now whether my study mate Christopher Ondarci will hear this and object, but I think the biggest mistake I've ever made was at school in my late teens with him, and I was approached by a prefect, a senior boy in the house at school, and he said, "Reid, you will share a study with Christopher Ondarci." And I said, "That's a funny name." And the man concerned was rather a funny fellow. He had an olive skin. He wasn't of old British stock at all, but he was, as it turned out, as I learned, from a very fine family of people who were from Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, of course.
Yes.
And we shared a study together, and I went on to do my little bit in my national service, and then went to East Africa, and then came back, and then we met again. And he had done absolutely fantastically well. He can be Googled as Sir Christopher Ondarci, and you can read all about him. I won't go any further about him.
No, because we're talking about the person that is John Reid. So that was the best mistake you ever made, was to share a room with Christopher Ondarci.
Well, according to my friends at school, the friends I was with before I shared a study with him, they said, "John, do you realize you're sharing a study with someone who's not British, old chap?" And I said, "Yes, I did realize that. And if that was a mistake, that was the best mistake I've ever made in my life."
I love it.
Because we've been good friends ever since, and he still is, at the same age as me, in touch. We're in touch with each other, and I consider that fantastic.
Yes, I can imagine. So when you meet people or people in your environment where you think, well, maybe they could do with a bit of uplifting, what do you do to get them out of their negativity, if at all? Or even what do you do to get yourself out of a moment of negativity? Listen to music or go and do an activity of sorts?
Well, what do I do? There are two songs that I know quite well, and the words get one out of negativity, or they got me out of negativity in the past. One of them was written by a chap called Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, wow.
Well known as an actor in the silent era before voices came into film. And he wrote a song called Smile. And it's a fabulous song. I'll sing it for you one day if you like. And there was another song which is entitled I Have Been a Rover, R-O-V-E-R. And that was first, who composed it, I don't know, but it was sung by a well-known singer called Frank Sinatra.
Love.
I heard it and I asked for it to be replayed, and my daughter-in-law was very obliging. She replayed it for me whenever she could. And I know that song also, or one verse from it. And when I feel a bit down, I say to myself, Reid, I've been a rover. I've walked alone. I've hiked 100 highways and never found a home. There was this girl in Memphis before the summer storms, and she had eyes that were tender, arms that were warm. She could laugh away the dark clouds, smile away the rain, and even though she's gone away, you'll not hear me complain.
Oh,
now that's the kind of thing.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. So smile then. Can you just do us all a favor and bring a smile to our faces and sing just one little bit of that song?
What?
Smile by Charlie Chaplin.
I'll try. My son should be here because he says sometimes I'm out of tune, but it's a lovely, the words are lovely. Smile when your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you.
Love it. I love it. I love it. And that was very much in tune, John, very much. So
I'm glad you think so.
No, absolutely. I've heard much, much worse. This was perfect. And if you think it was not perfect, then it was perfectly imperfect, like all of us.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm sure you've met lots of young people. What can you say to young people who feel that they need to be better than, or they are less than, and feel all this pressure? These days, there's so much pressure on young people. What would you say to them?
Well, I would tell them that when I'm a bit down, I do as I've just done for you. I sing a couple of songs and that cheers me up. And I tell them to look a little bit beyond themselves and see how lucky they are. I do it. I get up in the morning and I have a look at my wretched face in the mirror, and 99%, I cannot remember, Clee, when last I woke up with any aches and pains. I sleep like a baby with no sleeping pills. I wake up in the morning with no aches and pains. Now, at 91 next birthday, that is something to be cheerful about.
Absolutely. So I assume then that we're talking about gratitude and say, oh my gosh, how amazing. I woke up again without any aches and pains. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
That is what the universe tells you. My pleasure to have you waking up without aches and pains. Because I just love that you said my wretched face. Now, John, I said last time, you haven't got a wretched face. You don't look anything like any 90-year-old I've ever met.
Well, that's why I call myself a wretched face, because I was looking for compliments from you.
But what I do, John, every morning when I look at my beautiful face, because that is what I tell myself, I say in the mirror, I look in the mirror very closely and I go, Clee, I really, really love you. High five. Now, for my audience, can you please do the same thing, but for John Reid with the not at all wretched face? Look in the camera and go, John, I really, really love you. You're amazing.
I've never said that, but I'll say it for you, Clee. John, you really are so handsome. It is quite amazing.
Absolutely. And you love yourself very much.
I do indeed, just in case no one else loves me.
Exactly. But that is the most important thing, isn't it? Everything begins within. And when you love yourself and your cup is full, you can share your love with other people. But if you don't love yourself, you can't share your love with other people. Would you agree?
I think I would agree, yes. It is certainly much easier if you're happy in yourself. And as I said earlier, I am extremely happy normally. And the reason is, as I say, I sleep like a baby with no sleeping pills. I wake up in the morning with no aches and pains. I'm 91 next birthday. Now, if you're not happy with that kind of record, there's something seriously wrong with you.
Absolutely. So do you have a special diet or anything that keeps you out of aches and pains, or is it just the person, John Reid, who wakes up and goes, this is it. I am healthy, vibrant, and lean.
No. I don't have a special diet. At the moment, as I said, I sleep so very well. And when I say sleep well, I sleep for about 9 hours.
Oh my!
So I don't get up until the middle of the morning. And the first thing I do is have 1 or 2 cups of tea and have a look if the sun is shining. And then at about 2 o'clock, I get up and look around and dress and have my first course, which consists of porridge oats.
Nice.
Have you ever porridge oats made with water, made by DJ Reid himself? No one else is there to make them. And I make my porridge, and I have that at about 2 o'clock. And then I have someone here who I call Nanny or Tandeka. They're 2 local girls, and they're lovely girls. They're always smiling. And they at 3:30, and they'll do that today because I told them our interview would probably last about half an hour. And Tandeka will be ready with everything, and she'll make me a fried egg on a piece of brown bread toasted and 2 rashers of back bacon.
Oh.
And after that, I'll have a cup of coffee that my son calls terrible coffee. It's in a plastic tube. It's what they call a cappuccino. But I agree with him. It's the true coffee drinker wouldn't call it good coffee, but I happen to like it, and that's all that matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. So, and any exercise, John?
Yes, exercise I find very important. And I find if I don't take exercise or not quite enough exercise, then I don't sleep quite so well. And my doctor, who's a wonderful person, talking about positivity, she's a wonderfully positive person. She said, John, as you get older, your body starts to shrink, your muscles shrink and everything. She said, you've got to exercise. And I do that around the veranda, and it's got some steps in it. So I have to do it with caution because I have dizzy spells occasionally. But my doctor said, John, you can live with that. It's a bit of trouble with my inner ear. What they call the eustachian tubes are blocked a bit. And the operation to unblock them is too serious. And she said, you can live with it. And I do live with it. And I exercise. And the more I exercise, the more I make myself exercise, as I say, even better do I sleep.
Absolutely. Exercise is fantastic for the whole body, the mind, the spirit, because it gets the blood flowing and keeps you well. Fantastic.
But I haven't told you, Clee, I walk with a walking stick because I had a major fall about 3 or 4 years ago, and I smashed up my left hip. And the doctors, 2 surgeons operated on me, and they said at the end of it all, they said, Reid, do us a favor, don't fall again, because the next time you fall, if you damage that hip, you'll be in a wheelchair. So I thought horror upon horrors, but they did a marvelous job. And I understand that I was terribly lucky. I've said at the beginning of this interview, I'm a lucky guy. I'm terribly lucky not to be in a wheelchair right now. But I walk with a walking stick, and my doctor warned me because I walked in to see my house doctor. I think it was in February, the last time I saw her. And she said, John, you were walking without your stick. Don't do that. Don't get cocky. Otherwise you will fall. So I took her advice. And ever since then, whenever I walk, except in my own apartment, I walk with my stick.
Yeah. Now, I think that's fantastic because you smashed up your hip. Then you told me last time that you used to play a lot of golf. That was your passion. And then you have this moment. And then you have this moment where you can't play anymore. How did you overcome that challenge?
Well, how did I overcome it? I'm not sure I did overcome it. I still think it's terrible that I can't play golf, and I miss the friends I played golf with. But Clee, I tell you, most of the friends I played golf with are dead. They were my age, and that's another reason I can call myself lucky. If being alive is lucky, and I guess being alive is lucky, all right.
Well,
And
exactly. You're still enjoying life.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm enjoying being interviewed by you, Clee.
Thank you
So
very
there
much.
we
And
are.
I absolutely love interviewing you. Now, I have a question. Last time it was all a bit rushed and it went a little bit the John Reid way, i.e., why don't we do it now? And I did. And then you said to me, my son thinks I'm a little bit selfish.
He does indeed. He told me so.
Yes. And I said, well, John, I sort of agree with him because you wanted it to go your way and it didn't go my way. So can we do it again? And you said, I really don't like being selfish. So I'm going to change that. But what cracked me up was that you said, everyone who thinks I'm selfish can tell me, and then I will decide whether I agree or not.
Yeah, that is
Would
not a
one
very
call
good.
that selfish?
Oh dear, oh me. In good Dutch, een beetje eigenwijs.
Yes, a little bit big-headed, maybe. Do we say that?
Big-headed. Yeah,
Yeah.
possibly. Possibly, yeah.
So how has it been since the last time we spoke? Has anyone told you that you were behaving slightly selfishly?
No, no one's told me, because I told the girls who look after me, and I told Diederik and his wife, Fiona, I said, if I'm selfish, you've got to tell me on the spot, because maybe I don't even realize it. And we've got that agreement, and we're on good chatting terms now, so I think I'm doing okay.
Fabulous. Don't fall back into the old habits, John.
I'll try not to, because being selfish is terrible. It horrified me when I realized I was.
Well, I think being selfish is good when you look after yourself, but not when it hurts other people.
Of course. I couldn't agree more.
Exactly. So apart from your exercise that you do,
It's only walking. And when I walk with my stick, I will stand up, put the stick on a pole or something, and stretch myself a bit. But the most important part, according to my doctor, is actually walking, concentrating on walking properly, picking up your feet. And I do that, but I no longer go outside the front gate. I go shopping, of course, sometimes, and then I walk from the car to the different shops in the area. But if I'm not doing that twice a week, say, then I'm walking around the veranda, which has a big step up and then 2 steps up and so on. So it's not exactly an obstacle course, but it is somewhere where you have to concentrate on what you're doing.
well, that is very good. That also keeps your mind going.
Yeah.
Yes. So my next question is, what do you listen to music often?
Not as often as I would like. But if there's music on the TV, I've got a wonderful collection of records as well. And I haven't been doing it recently. Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe I should do it more often. But I've got a wonderful collection. And at the moment, there's so much sport on TV that I'm watching a lot of TV. There's golf and there's tennis. And as we come into the summer season in the Northern Hemisphere, it's getting even more concentrated. So, but I do listen to music. I love music. In the school, at the prep school I was, when I went to a prep school when I was 7 years old and stayed there until I was 13. It was a boarding school. And I was in the choir, and I left there and then went to Blundell's, which is the school from 13 to 18, 19, 18. And the schoolmaster was called Jazz Hall. And Jazz Hall was, of course, a nickname. Jazz was a nickname, and he was a classics teacher. And he was also the choir master. And he heard my voice. He tested my voice and said, Reid, you're joining the choir. And now I'm going to show off. From the choir are chosen about, as far as I recall, I would say about 10 people who had very good voices. And we called that the Motet Club. And the Motet Club was sort of the best of the bunch from the choir, or that's what I believe. And I was in it almost from the word go. So I had rather a good voice, they told me.
Well, that you must have had, and I think you still have a good voice.
Thank you very much.
So, have you got any questions for me, John?
Have I got any questions for you? No, I don't think I have. I enjoyed being interviewed by you. I was a bit nervous, I may say, Clee, but my good friend, who I understand put you in touch with me, Judith.
Yes, she did.
And Judith and I are good friends, and I value her friendship very, very much. She's a wonderful woman and very kind to me. And she said, John, do the interview now, and maybe you might cheer someone up. And all I can say is, if I did, or if I do, then I'm delighted.
Well, you've certainly cheered me up. Not that I need a lot of cheering up, because I'm quite positive in any case. But yeah, you make my heart sing. You really do, because you're just so joyous and delightful. However, I'd like to know what you would say to anyone who's over 70 and who has decided that it's the end of life and to sit behind the UCAP. What would you say to them to go and enjoy life a little bit more?
Well, as I told you, I think, Clee, when I'm a bit down, I turn to music. And I just cannot believe that anyone who's a little bit depressed, a bit upset about something, if they listened to the music of Smile by Charlie Chaplin, or I Have Been a Rover, they're such lovely tunes and lovely words, and say the nicest things. The one about I've been a rover, that love is a good thing and a very necessary thing in one's life. And this girl from Memphis sounds a very good girl, I must say.
But you haven't met her yet.
I haven't met her yet, no. No. I won't meet her any more than I'll meet Charlie Chaplin. But
well, you never know. You could always ask Diederik to get you a Tinder profile, which is a dating site.
I might do that.
Oh, that would be so hilarious. Even I don't go on Tinder.
I'm not sure, Clee, whether anyone really wants someone of 90 plus, because that means that you're sort of almost looking after someone, because you become, in my case, and most people go pretty bloody hopeless at 1991.
No. The thing is, it's not about the age. The age is but a number. It's about the person that they're looking at.
Yes.
And you would give a lady, even from Memphis, especially from Memphis, a beautiful time.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm 100% available. 100%.
I think that is marvelous. So, John, I think that I shall let you go because your nanny is going to bring you your lunch or breakfast very soon, I believe.
I don't know what time it is. I can't see the time, but if it's coming close to 3:30, then indeed I should go and have that. Otherwise, she'll be delayed going home to her 2-year-old child.
Oh, bless. I love little children. In which case, I'm going to say, John, thank you so very much for doing this again. And like I do with all my guests, I always send them a massive Clee hug.
Thank you, Clee. Thank you, Clee. I've enjoyed being interviewed. I was a bit nervous, but I've enjoyed being interviewed by you. You sound a pretty positive bird yourself. I'll do my best to remain positive and happy, which I am, because I'm lucky, because I'm very lucky.
Please do, please do. And I do believe you create your own luck by being happy within yourself. And the happier and the more loving you are towards yourself, the more happiness you create. So thank you again, John. And I'm definitely going to stay in touch.
Thank you very much. I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere fast. And you can always get in touch with me via Judith. Judith, I'm very good friends with her. She's a much appreciated friend. So until the next time, Lee, and thanks a lot.
Until the next time, and thank you too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Clee. Look after yourself.
Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope I put a smile of positivity on your face. Don't forget to subscribe and leave me a 5-star review. I do read all of them and would love to hear from you. See you again soon. And of course, a massive hug. Bye.